I'm gonna drop in the water, I'm gonna do some face exposures, and we're gonna talk through what you can expect if you fall through the ice, what you can expect to experience personally as you kind of progress through the stages of hypothermia. And then we're gonna go through some rescue sequences from the shore about how important it is to look at your victim and understand where they're at in that hypothermia window. Is it early hypothermia? Is it late stage hypothermia? Because everything about them and that stage that they're in hypothermia is going to dictate how progressive you do or don't have to do with your rescue sequence. So remember, with this first drop-in, this initial physiological response is not necessarily hypothermia, it's exposure, okay? You're dropping in, you're having a massive shock to your system, and your body's gonna physiologically respond. So I'm gonna do a quick face wash, we'll come up, I'm probably gonna guppy breathe for a little bit. I'm gonna coach myself through it, and I'm just gonna slow down my breathing. Slow your breathing down, get your wits about you. Any area on your body that is directly exposed to that water, or anywhere where you have thin layers of clothing, your initial reaction is gonna be, I guess I'd call it pain. All your pain receptors are gonna kick in. And it's just that skin exposure. It's your nerve endings telling you, hey, you're touching something way too cold, just like it would if it said you were touching something way too hot. So just breathe through that and relax. Remember, where are my arms at? They're on the ice, I'm trying to keep them still, trying to make sure they start creating a marriage with that surface. As soon as I have myself collected, I'm gonna try and make that game plan. Now, here's where you're gonna start progressing through the stages of hypothermia. When I first drop in and I get control of that breathing, this is what you should see doing. You should be shivering. Shivering is your body's natural way of producing its own body heat. So shivering is good. As you continue to lay here and delay the reaction or response to get out of the water and get to safety, your shivering is going to decline, okay? And that's going to be developing towards late stage hypothermia. So if you ever arrive on scene, you're talking to a victim, you can tangibly see that they're still shivering, that is a good sign. That means their body is still compensating. If I'm just totally relaxed, no lip quiver, no chin quiver, no anything else, and I'm not completely insulated in a suit like this, I have gone all the way through that and I am in late stage hypothermia. The other thing you gotta be really careful about as you're watching patients hitting that late stage of hypothermia is from a cardiac perspective. Basically, their body is shunting blood away from all their extremities. It's forcing all that blood to vital organs, so you're having a shock response, but you're building up toxins in your extremities. Your heart becomes very, very susceptible to dysrhythmias, okay? Things that are gonna lead to cardiac arrest or heart attack. If we start handling this victim real abrasively or real abruptly, and they're in late stage hypothermia, even something as simple as dragging them across the ice without something protected between them and the ice surface, if it's not a smooth transition, just bumps and rough handling can throw that victim into a cardiac dysrhythmia or cardiac arrest. So we gotta be really gentle with late stage hypothermic patients. So those are basically the stages. I'm starting to develop a little bit of shiver, which is a good sign. It just means I've been sitting in this cold water for a little while now, and I'm starting to develop maybe that early stage response to exposure, okay? So when you feel that coming on, those are your quick times to use your applications to get up out of the hole, roll away from the hole, and I can immediately feel a body response. Even though I'm up here and in the wind now, just by getting out of that cold water, all that water just sucking away my body heat while I'm in it, it's gone. Much more comfortable now. So the basic progression to hypothermia, especially if you're a bystander or see someone in the water, try to think about that. The other things that are going to be coupled with late stage hypothermia is basically loss of dexterity, loss of motor function, and inability to communicate or think rationally. So one of the first things we do from the bank, we want to engage the victim verbally. Hey, are you okay? What's going on? Talk to me, look at me. You're just evaluating their responsiveness. If they're real lethargic and they're not really moving a lot, and they're not shivering, you immediately know late stage hypothermia, and they're not going to be able to help themselves. So even trying to coach them through self-rescue, trying to throw throwbacks to them, trying to get branches to them, none of that's going to be effective because none of them are going to be able to hold on to anything. You're going to have to physically go get them and get them up out of the hole.